Hey there, welcome to Air Check Your Life. Today's podcast is for anybody who has lost somebody close to them, let's say within the last couple of years. And you're starting to get this itch inside your heart or your head. I don't know where the itch comes for you, where you're like, have I been grieving long enough? Is it time to move on? And we're going to have this important conversation today with Jill McMahon, who lots of you know because she's been on this pod several times, and for good reason. She's one of the absolute greatest human beings walking the planet Earth. Thanks for being with me today. And I'm glad we're going to have this conversation about the grief after the grief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's an important topic, buddy. And it's one that isn't often covered, but it's one that's felt all of the time.
So I was just saying to you before we started that, I lost my mom, I lost my best friend, all, within kind of a 6 to 8 week span of each other a couple of years ago. And I was saying to my life group the other day, we were having this conversation and they were like, how are you? And it dawned on me that I've been living with this cloud of grief over me for the last couple of years, and I'm starting to get antsy. I'm starting to feel in my heart, in my head, like it's time, and it's okay that it's time to move on and not hold the feeling so closely. And the reason that I wanted to have this conversation with you is because when I went on my retreat like 4 or 5 years ago, I wrote this down. I referenced it before you and I dialed up, but I had this thought in my head that I think a lot of people have in their heads, Jill, which is, if I let go, it means I stop caring. And that's not true. And so let's bat this around a little bit today for somebody who's maybe in my position. Maybe it's been longer than that. Maybe it's been a few years and you still find yourself in a grieving state and you're ready for the grieving to be over and you're ready to move in and move on and step into the next phase of life. So I'll pump this back on you, but all the things I just said, give me the Jill synopsis on this while I sip my tea.
I like that.
Take your time. Take your time.
I like that you picked the time frame of 2 years. And I'm not sure if you did that intentionally, although I do know what your personal journey is, right? And you're just at about the 2-year mark for 2 very important anniversaries of death in your life. And what I've seen in my work over and over again is that it is at about 2 years where you feel like that sweater that you've been wearing is kind of getting too tight. It's constricting, right? And you almost want to shed your skin. And where I think the correlation there is, Matthew, and I would love to hear if this sounds familiar to you, is that at about 2 years, every journey is different, we find this level of acceptance. And acceptance is key in the grief journey. And that first year, all you're doing is striving for acceptance, because we believe that once we hit that feeling of acceptance, the pain will begin to recede and dissipate. But you can't dictate when that acceptance of the loss, of the absence, of the longing that you're not going to see your person again, you're not going to get the phone calls, you're not going to get, the goofy birthday videos. We wait and we're not in control. But when it comes knocking on our door and we find that acceptance, where I believe that's where you are, we start to get this feeling of now what? And that also has its own complications. And I think that's what you're talking about today. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it feels very, very true. It's this idea that you're right. Okay. And you look, when they die, like, I can't call them anymore. I can't go on walks anymore. I'm not going to get the text message anymore. But it's also the people around you stop talking about them, stop asking about them, stop anything about them, if I'm honest, I haven't had very many people ask me about my mom in a year. I haven't had hardly anybody ask me about my my best friend 𝐤𝐿 in maybe more than a year.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all those little things added up that impact me. And for those of you who have just joined us and you're wondering, why are we sitting down to have this conversation with Jill? It's because she's a licensed grief counselor and has been for 68 years now. She's been practicing.
Pretty
Just
close.
kidding.
Yeah, pretty close.
But okay, the other thing I want you to bat around really quick is the idea of what I said, letting go is different than I stopped caring.
Oh, and this is one of my favorite topics, believe it or not. More and more, we become just slave to this idea that if we stop talking about our person, if we move forward without our person, if we find acceptance, that means we never loved them, that means we didn't care, that means that we're over it. And there is this real, true feeling of guilt about being over anything. And so, Mathew, you know, my friend, I don't think we ever get over guilt, right? I think guilt just changes. I'm sorry, I'm going to take that back. We don't ever get over grief. That's what I'm talking about. Guilt is very powerful as well.
I was like, my brain was scrambling there for a second.
Wow. Yeah. G words. It's the G words.
Jill's had her brownie this morning.
I will not confirm or deny. No, deny. Grief is a journey. And so it is something that we learn to transition with. So what I do know is that when we first lose somebody, our worlds become very small, right? All we can think about is the loss and that person not being present and how we're going to get through, and that nobody is talking about them anymore. How can they go on with their lives? We are overwhelmed as our world is getting smaller and smaller. But as time goes by, the world starts to open up a little bit and our grief gets incorporated into the rest of the world, but it looks different. It doesn't mean that we have days sitting on our couch wallowing, or that we can't drive past a particular restaurant because that restaurant just reminds us of our husband. What it means is we can do all of the things that we used to do before, but we miss them in small little ways, right? However, we stop ourselves because we believe if we move forward, if we laugh, if we enjoy our person's favorite dinner, we're horrible human beings. How can I love spaghetti when my friend isn't here to enjoy it with me? What does that say about me? We call our own kind of character into question, and it's this dirty game that our brain plays with ourselves.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I don't know that I specifically resonate as much with like what you just said, but I know a lot of people who do.
Mhm.
And so I'm really happy that you said that. I think for me, what I'm noticing is just sort of where we started. Like, okay, it's time. It feels like it's time to step in. And honestly, what comes through me, Jill, when I think about this is like, it's time to really start honoring them. And we say this all the time, right? Like they wouldn't want us to be sitting in a corner sad and grieving all the time. They'd want us to get on with our lives. They'd want us to tackle the dreams that we have. And that's what I mean when I say it's time to like really step into this and honor these folks. And while also appreciating the lessons of the last couple of years, because, I've said this to you a few times during our podcast. I think death is the greatest teacher the world will ever know. We just learn so much about ourselves when we have to go through the experience of death. And so I'm grateful. I've learned a lot of lessons. I've learned a little bit about me. I've learned a little bit about how I want to be for other people. I'm grateful for the lessons. And now I feel like, okay, it's time to get in the game again. It's time to put the lessons into practice. And I wonder, I don't know, if I were sitting across from you and were paying you, your hourly rate and you were working me through this sequence, what sort of advice would you be giving me and people like me who are ready to step into that new energy?
I'd have a question for you. What about you doesn't believe that you have been honoring your people? It's been 2 years, Mathew.
Can I be thoughtful about that?
Absolutely. Please.
The only answer that's coming to me is I haven't given it my all. I don't feel like I've given my everything. I feel like I've in some ways held back a little bit. And And I don't know if that's true or not. I really don't. But that's the only thing that's coming through me right now.
So I'm going to pause you right there because this is a
Okay.
great example for anybody who's watching or listening. This is so typical for a griever to feel like they're doing something wrong or they're not doing something enough. And I want everybody to hear that, because that can be normal, right? You're not broken. You're not flawed. You have not screwed this up, and you have not done your person a disservice by not saying their name more, by not doing more in their honor. Here's what I know about grief. We stand still and the rest of the world keeps rotating. At some point, my friend, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, we have to jump back on board to catch up. That means we have real life work activities that we have to catch up on. We have a whole email box that needs to be responded to. We have children and spouses and best friends that need our attention. We need to manicure relationships. There are other places that we also need to keep alive. And what that does at times is it steals energy away from our grief. Now, that's not just a bad thing. I want everybody to realize that. Those can be lifesavers, because the world doesn't want us, and it rarely allows us to sit in our grief long term. Right? So it's just really, really finding ways that you can continue to incorporate or honor your people. I'm going to tell you, because I know you in particular really well, you're going to do that forever because you're intentional. I think, however, most people may not be intentional about it. And that's okay. It's because there is no one way. There is no formula. There is no book on how to grieve. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you find a book that gives you 12 steps on how to grieve, throw it away, because it's bullshit. Yeah. Right? Because it's not going to individually be speaking to you. There is no right way or wrong way. But you are going to make sure what I'm hearing about your particular situation, being 2 years out from 2 very significant losses in your life, having found acceptance that this is my reality now, not that you haven't always known that, but like, here I am now, what do I do? I'm ready to shed the dark cloud. I think you're in a period of transition. And I think so many people know what it's like to be in that spot and go, now what? Well, so, my friend, what if there's no what? What if there's no next?
Yeah. So let me ask you, okay, like it's like, if I'm sitting down if I have a heart condition, I want to go sit down with a cardiologist. If I'm talking about grief, I want to sit down with a grief specialist. So maybe you could tell me, because look, Jill, you've lost significant people in your life before.
Correct.
How do you deal with the transition? Let me make you squirm a little bit. Like, what do you do, Jill, to ease yourself through the transition a little bit and step into the newness?
I typically will do something new. You just use that word, newness. So I'll take whatever I've been doing. I typically grieve silently, and that's my way. That's my thing. It's not wrong. It's just the way that I process. I may grieve silently. Then I may verbalize my story over and over again. I love to share. So I think that sharing is emptying your trash can. It's cleaning out. So I'll share a little bit with everybody. And after that phase, I feel like I've done it and I've exhausted it. Then I try to find something new. So what that means is I'll do something intentional. I will go on a 2-day retreat and say, this retreat is going to be for my person. I will start a new, not hobby, but I'll start a new project, and it will be something that pushes me and pushes my limits. And I will tell myself, I'm doing this in honor of, right? or I'll go out and I'll start talking about uncomfortable things. I'll be ready to peel back the layers of the onion. And maybe during one of my speaking engagements, I'll start sharing a story about a very dear friend that I lost to suicide that I would never share prior to that date because it was too personal. It was too close. So those are ways that I will go out and kind of transition and turn my grief, but I'm honoring in a different way because I've graduated to a different level. Does that make sense?
It's so good. No, I just love all of it. I mean, I wrote it down, right? I'll grieve silently, then I'll lean into verbalizing it. Maybe I'll go on a 2-day retreat for them, then I'll start a new project in honor of them. Yeah, and something that really kind of came through me hard as you were talking was, I don't love to write letters, but what about this idea of writing a letter to my people and just saying, it's been 2 years and I'm releasing this and I'm ready to let this go. And I just want you to know, oh my God, I'm getting so emotional, like how much I love you and how much I miss you, but like, it's time for me to step into something new. I don't know if that would be appropriate is the word, or I like you said, everybody's different, but that's what I was thinking about as you were talking.
So I want to pause right there for a minute. My friend, you don't have to write the letter because you've just said it to the world. And we're going to release this and people are going to hear this. And that's your love letter right there. If it helps your brain to put it on paper, then put it on paper, but you've just said it. Here's the deal. We can move forward and still love them. You're not releasing grief. You're releasing the pain. And what you did is you just told 𝐷𝐿, you just told your mom, I've outgrown the pain. I've done it. I've sat in it. I'm not even sure you wanted me there. I'm pretty sure, guys, you didn't want me in there. I'm showing you that I'm opening up. I'm a flower that's opening up. I'm breaking the chains of the pain, and now I'm going to live. But I'm still going to honor you every damn day. In my actions, in my words. My feet can move when your feet cannot. And that I will never forget. That, my friend, is what motivates me to keep going. And it's enough.
We talk a lot about conversations on this podcast, and these are not always the easiest ones to have. I can see the look on your face right now, right? These are the more challenging conversations to have because, in the framework that I teach people, one of the key ingredients is honesty. And what I'm clear about is I'm not talking about brutal honesty and telling the world how you feel and making them feel a certain way about it. I'm talking about, do you have the capacity to be vulnerable enough to say the thing that you absolutely need to say in order to feel better? Because, the way that I end a lot of my talks is with this phrase that I saw once upon a time that said, what they want isn't more important than what you need. And so if you just need to say the words, say them, say them. And if that other person can't get down with it, they're probably not your person. And it's okay. It's okay. Well, thanks. I always know that this is going to be a good conversations with you. Is there one thing that you want to leave with everybody that would be really helpful? Like you're sitting across from somebody who's really in it. Maybe they've been in it longer than 2 years. Maybe it's been 5 years and they just can't, and what comes to mind is like the death of a child or something like that. Like something that's just so hard to get over. And I feel like this conversation, I'm hoping that there's somebody listening to it who's been unfortunately in that place before and needed to hear it. But what do you say to somebody who's just been in it a little longer than 2 years and they just can't find a way to move through it?
I actually want to end with a quote that I found that was very powerful. Grief is not a room. It's a body of water. You do not walk through it. You learn to float, to swim, to sometimes go under, and to come back up. The people who tell you to move on, they've never been in the water. So take your time, because the shore is always there.
Her book is called Bulletproof. She's a gun violence survivor. She's a grief counselor. She's just an incredible person. That QR code in the top right, if you're watching this on YouTube, will take you right to it. Jill, thank you as always for everything that you bring to the table. I care about you, and I appreciate you so much.
I love you, my friend. Thank you.
All right. We'll see everybody next time.